G'day everyone, so I'm going to be going through the profiles part of this new Taylordrift Scottish Tryhard 5.0 script. A few of the admins have told me they've gotten some messages from people asking, oh, why isn't this working, or how do I set it up? So I'm going to make a quick video about it. I know I did one previously, but that was for the Outcast script. This is going to be for the new Scottish Tryhard one. So in the profile section, you'll find the profile button, the resync button, the warzone profile, and the profile switch. This is the main ones we're going to be looking at. There's also the weapon names and stuff, but the profile buttons are what we're going to be looking at today. Now, as a quick explanation, the profile button is going to be the button that you press to switch between the primary and secondary profiles that are available on this script. The resync button, sometimes your primary and secondary profiles get a bit mixed up. This is going to be able to resync those so they're back to normal. There's the warzone profile button that allows you to access the third warzone profile for more anti-recoil and aim assist settings. And then there's also the profile switch button. So all these is just, instead of using like this one here, the profile button, this is a one button method where you press one button, it will change on the script from primary to secondary and back to primary again. If you want to use two buttons instead, that's what this is for. That's it. All right, so to set these up, it's very simple. You just need to hold the button that you want to use. Okay, so we're going to start with profile button. Now I want to use triangle/Y, so I'm going to hold that on the controller, and there's triangle/Y. Okay, now I'm going to back out so that saves, and I'll give you an example. So you can see it says primary on the script, but once I change my weapons here, it changes to secondary on the script. If I change back to my primary weapon, it changes back to primary on the script. Next one on the list is the resync button here. What I recommend you do is make this whatever button you ADS with. So for most people, that's going to be L2/LT. If you play on flipped, that's going to be L1 or LB. All right, so I'm going to hold that, and that's my resync button selected. So I'll show you how to use that. Back out so it saves. So the resync button is going to be whatever button you just selected just then. Okay, hold that button and then press triangle or Y. All right, so what that does, like I said before, sometimes things get a little bit mixed up. So I'll give you an example. So let me just... All right, so now you can see that I have my secondary weapon out, but once I change my weapons, it goes to the secondary profile on the script. Once I change my weapon again, it goes back to the primary on the script, but I have my secondary weapon out. So things can get a little bit mixed up, and that's where the resync buttons come into play. So it's going to be, like I mentioned, whatever button you set as your resync button and triangle Y. So I made it L2/LT, so I'm going to hold that and then press triangle Y. You can then see that it changes on the script, but it doesn't change my weapon in the game. Okay, so then I can go back to changing my weapons and everything's back to normal. It's resynced back to how it should be. Now after that, you've got the warzone profile. This is to access another profile. You've got primary, secondary. You can access a third warzone profile for other anti-recoil, aim assist settings, whatever you want to have. A lot of people use this for ground loot. So to set this one up, all you're going to do is just hold the button that you want to choose as the first button for your warzone profile. So I'm going to make mine R3/RS. All right, I'm then going to press down on the D-pad so it goes down to that second line, and I'm going to choose my second button. So I'm going to make mine R3/RS and D-pad down. So I hold down on the D-pad and that's selected. Once I back out so that saves, you can see I've still got the same primary, secondary setup. If things got out of sync, I can still resync that like I did before. But now we've got the warzone profile. Oh, actually, there we go. Just a good example. It just went out of sync. So to sync that back up again, I can still use the sync button. That's all working the same. There we go. But if I want to access the warzone profile, I press those buttons that I just selected. So you can copy me or you press whatever buttons you chose just then. So I'm going to go R3/RS, holding that one in, and D-pad down. And there we go. I now have the warzone profile. I can change weapons as much as I like. It'll stay on that warzone profile. To get off the warzone profile, you simply press the same buttons again. So R3/RS is what I have. I'm holding that button and then press D-pad down. All right, so the last one we're going to go through is the profile switch button. In my opinion, what you're better off doing if you want to set up the profile part of the script is just setting up the warzone profile, the resync button, and the warzone profile like I've shown here. You don't have to choose these exact buttons, but just set these three up at least, okay? When it comes to the profile switch, this is where a lot of the confusion's coming into it, and in my opinion, there's not really much of a point using it. But either way, what you want to do, especially if you've set it up just like this, to have your profile button on triangle Y, you want to make sure that your profile switch isn't going to involve triangle Y as well. Otherwise, it's going to start messing things up. Your weapon's not going to change, or it will change on the script, but it'll change twice. So it'll change from secondary to primary, then back to secondary again real quick, and it won't change again. It's a mess, all right? Just trust me on this one. With the profile switch, if you want to use it, make it something that doesn't involve triangle Y. So you might want to go L2/LT and circle B, something like that. All right, back out so that saves. That way you got everything as normal. All right, you can change your weapons just like normal. If things get mixed up, you can still press your resync buttons. Everything still changes like that. But you've also got, just in case you want to change the profiles, that 2-button profile switch. So if I press the L2/LT and circle/B, it changes as well. You know, it's just another way to do it. But where people were going wrong and where the confusion was coming from is they were setting the profile button, the profile switch to like something like this, for example, L2 to triangle Y. And then what that does, right, now once I back out and I try and change weapons, Like, nothing's changing, you know? Well, nothing's changing in the game, but it's changing on the script. It gets a bit mixed up, you know, either way. So to set it up like I showed you, in my opinion, don't even bother using the profile switch. Just do these 3 and you'll be all good. But anyway, that's everything I needed to go for the video. Cheers for watching and see you on the next one.